The Many Things Podcast.
Wow,
Ready?
fast.
Yeah, so basically the other story we found, was the one about the stowaways. They were on a oil tanker ship's rudder. The rudder's the bit that the ships used to steer, and they're sat like what, a meter above the surface of the water. And these guys traveled from Nigeria, Lagos to Las Palmas, Gran Canaria, a journey of more than 2,700 nautical miles. So these guys spent 11 days on a ship rudder across, which oceans is that? I don't know which oceans it covers, but basically went across
How did they?
crazy. Like, that's unbelievable, is it not?
Yeah, it is. But they must be desperate. If you're doing that, you're desperate, and no one would do this for fun. And on salt water as well. It's not like you can. I doubt they had enough water for 3 of them for 11 days as well.
It's such a long
But
time.
They made it to Gran Canaria because they were taken to hospital for dehydration, it says.
Imagine 11 days clinging on, holding on, trying not to fall into the ocean on the back of a ship's rudder. I think it's just an incredible story. I'd love to speak to people. I mean, what must that have been like? These poor.
Oh yeah, and also the conditions. I wonder what the sea conditions were like.
Had to be calm. If anyway,
Yeah.
like literally a meter. Like the guy's feet where he's sat are like 2-3 feet above the surface.
And there's barely any room on that rudder. The rudder's about a meter like width as well at the widest point, but it tapers to like it gets narrower. So yeah, I'm not sure how they managed.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? Those guys, the things that they
there's nothing to hold on to really.
It's so strange. Imagine somebody you know has gone through an experience like that. I mean, it's almost too difficult to comprehend. Like being lucky being from the UK where we are and stuff. That the fact that these people have such a bad life, or to an extent that they feel the need to just entirely risk their life. I don't know what the odds of survival like that, but the odds of survival must be absolutely tiny for a chance to live in a different country and earn more money and send money back to your friends and family through the Western Union, the international payment systems or something like that. I mean, it's crazy. It is unbelievable. Really.
Yeah, it says it's unclear if they spent the entire journey perched on the rudder, but still, they must have spent ages on there. And also getting to, how would you, I mean, maybe they got like a small boat to this rudder, but still, it's still amazing that they didn't fall off.
It's so sad that people have to do stuff like this, and in an environment. Like, I remember a while back I watched this documentary, and it was called The Man Who Fell from the Sky, because I know you get stowaways, and what they do is, if it's an international cargo plane or one of these huge transportation airplanes, they would wait until nighttime when it was parked, and at nighttime they would run up onto the plane and hold onto the wheels and climb up into where the airplanes, as they take off, the wheels fold up. That they'd come into the wheel arches, and they'd stow away for the duration of the flight. And this guy did it, but he clearly died mid-journey. It's a horrible story. He died mid-journey. So when the plane was coming into land and they opened the gates for the wheels to come out from the underneath of the plane, this guy fell down, and he landed on just a normal housing estate, not too far away from Heathrow Airport, I think it was. And they interviewed neighbors and stuff, and they said they heard this huge crash in the middle of the night, and they just found this guy lying on the street. But it's even tougher. Like the airplane thing, there's the added dimension. Well, there's two parts. There's the temperature, because when you're up at 35 or 30,000 feet, it's much, much colder, like kind of freezing temperature. And also your oxygen levels, like airplane cabins are oxygenated. And so and some people do actually survive going through the planes and the stowaways. So like, this is crazy how these people are doing this, right?
Yeah, in this article, although it said it's unclear if they spent the entire journey perched on a rudder, it later says that the 14-year-old boy who basically did this journey, he said that he spent the 15-day journey on the rudder, basically. So some of them did spend the whole thing, and they survived on salt water and took turns to sleep in a hole above the rudder for 15 days.
So there was a place.
So some of them did, but I think maybe he's the only one that confirmed that they actually spent, but I reckon the others did.
Well, I think it was a different incident, because above it says this isn't the first time stowaways have been found on rudders. A 14-year-old boy who also traveled from Lagos to Gran Canaria.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right, I think.
But he had a 15-day journey, which is unbelievable. Did I ever tell you about my friend in the when I used to live in the warehouse, and he was from Eritrea? Did I tell you this story?
I don't think so.
Eritrea's a country in northeast Africa, not too far away from the Middle East, and people say Eritrea is the North Korea of Africa in terms of their authoritarian regime, the way people aren't allowed to use the internet, have internet access. It's a genuine dictatorship. Now, my friend and his girlfriend, they both came from Eritrea, decided to leave. It took him over a year. He spent 2 weeks sleeping on the streets of Paris. He crossed deserts. They went in, I think, the back of a lorry to get into the UK, and it's an incredibly dangerous journey. But what he was saying, actually one of the most dangerous bits of the journey is just leaving Eritrea, because people that are caught trying to leave the country, the government puts you in these prison camps, and you're awaiting trial, except sometimes there's not trial. And he said that the government are known to just take people away from these camps in the middle of the night and just take them away, and you don't know what happens to these people. So it's just crazy dangerous. And I couldn't believe I was chatting to this guy, and he just had this background, and he'd come from the other side of the world, and he was just there working, sorting people's Amazon orders with them, like next to me. I couldn't believe it. Wait, let me try to find where Eritrea. Oh yeah, here we go. So Eritrea, it borders Djibouti. It's near Yemen. It borders Djibouti, Sudan, and Ethiopia. So I mean, I assume, I don't know which route he took, but there's a smuggling route that goes through.
A long route.
Yeah, there's a smuggling route that goes through Niger and up through the Algerian desert, the Sahara, and then I presume he took that route. But I mean, that's just a crazy story, isn't it? And now he at the time, he was working, and he sends money back to his family and stuff. It's kind of amazing, really.
It is.
Although I might bleep out in the edit, I might bleep out where he's working, because I don't know his I don't know his whole status on that. Yeah, I'm not going to repeat where he was working, because that's not good. But it's mental, isn't it? That it makes you realize how lucky we are, even though it's times with the cost of living and stuff, we don't necessarily feel.
Yeah, you could have been born anywhere, really. They were born. Well, we could have been born anywhere, but we're born here.
It's just a roll of the dice. I mean, realistically, unless you're born in one of the Nordic countries, like a Finland or a Norway or somewhere like that, they have a better quality of life than us, but not that many people do in the world.
Yeah, that's true. And we have access to everything, really, here. Even the poorest people here have internet access, probably.
Most of them, yeah.
Whereas if you went to like the third world, people are living in in sort of housing with, you know, corrugated iron roofs and stuff, and don't actually and don't have running water. That's the other thing.
Yeah, the walking to get water. I watched. I don't know if I watched it. I read about it. But basically, you know, Mark Wahlberg, the Hollywood actor, he's doing this initiative with some people. So basically, the company, or I think it's a charity or something, that Mark Wahlberg's involved with. I watched on this documentary, and what they do is they don't just provide water, they offer loans to communities. So they lend these communities in different developing nations, predominantly in Africa and sub-Saharan Africa, whereby they provide a loan to the community, to the town, to the village, in which we'll build you this water pump, so your village has access to clean and fresh water, yet you have to repay the loan. And so far, they've provided, I think it's almost 1 million of these loans to these people in developing places, and they had a 99% repayment rate. So almost all of these communities were paying back the loans, and just
Yeah, the water.
and now they have
Getting water to these people isn't actually a tricky fix. It's just a matter of them being able to do it. Because yeah, when you see these adverts, they're saying, "Oh, donate money so they can install a water pump," and so it's not actually it's not a hard fix. It's just the money to do it. That is the problem.
Exactly. And it's just it's beautiful how these loans work. Almost all of them are repaying these loans, so it works. You know? You've got the collective economic power, even though that their incomes aren't huge, but the collective economic power of these people in these villages, and the fact it works is amazing. Because they were saying in the interview, a lot of the children in these villages before the water pumps, they couldn't attend school because they had to spend literally all day walking to get water to, you know, their family, to keep their families alive. And yeah, I just
usually it's not clean water either.
Exactly, like so often it's not, you know, it's whether it's the low sanitation levels or pollution and stuff. But I just think stories like that are amazing, and you know why we should be seeing stuff like that on the news a bit more as well, you know.
Well, yeah, exactly.
It's such a like a hopeful, inspiring type story, but I don't know. Again, it's something we just take for granted so much living where we live.
Yeah, and now with like all the cost of living, people are moaning, rightfully moaning, but they're moaning that, oh, we can't afford things. But people are also very wasteful in this country. Like they'll just run the water when they're not even in the room.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, it's different. It's different if you're running a bath. Obviously, you won't be in the room, although you don't actually need baths. But people will just leave taps on and stuff. I try to save a lot of water, but obviously I use way more water than like the average person in Africa or somewhere like India, or we use way more water.
And even the demand, like when we buy t-shirts, stuff like that, it's so water intensive, all of it, isn't it?
Yeah, I think, yeah, making certain clothes uses loads of, and things like, and a lot of these sort of healthy diets use a lot of water to grow the seeds and stuff. So use of water is probably one of the biggest. Is one of, like, people talk about just pollution, but actually using water, that we cause a lot of problems by overusing water.
Well, do you know how many the freshwater shortage we have is unbelievable. They think that, oh my word, they think that by 2050, let me get the figure, it's like 4 or 5 billion. Oh yeah, here we go. By 2050, 5 billion people are going to struggle to have access to fresh water. At the minute, it's 3.6 billion, but it's basically, as you know, climate change and stuff happens. You know, there's the water evaporation from freshwater short places, and also water reserves. We have a lot of underground water reserves that a lot of countries rely on, and they're just running out, and we're not replacing them. So imagine 5 billion people are going to struggle to have access to fresh water by 2050.
Yeah, it's not promising, but it won't be us in the West.
Yeah, you can guarantee that. Our water,
and we use the most.
How do we use the most? How? I mean, I don't know. How do you change that though?
I don't know, because you can get people to use less water, but I think it's because, I don't know, what are the reasons that the water's running out? Can we actually stop, aside from stopping the usage of water? Is there actually a way to?
Yeah, you'd think, like right now we have the technology to, like this Zoom call we're doing, we're both in the same country, but I could real time talk to my friend in perfect HD video quality, someone on the other side of the planet. I could speak to them through technology. So if humans have got that level of technology, surely we can work out a way for people to have clean, fresh drinking water. Surely that's within our capabilities, given the current levels of technological advancement we have in other areas, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it must be. I don't know. I mean, a lot of the water we drink is also not safe, but then we filter it. So if we could find a lot of the water we drink isn't actually from springs already. So it already probably.
Yeah, we're very good at processing and cleaning it, but water processing plants are super expensive. So, you know, whether you just got to work out a way for the poor people to get these things.
Yeah, I don't know what the solution is.
I don't know what the solution is either, man. It's not good though. We'll see. Yeah. All right, man. Should we finish?
Yeah. Yeah. See you later.
I'll see you later.
The Many Things Podcast.